There is a moment somewhere in the infinite silence where even light surrenders its voice, a horizon where everything we know simply ends. Beyond that edge lies a question so vast, so eternal, that no telescope, no equation, no human imagination has ever fully touched it. What lies beyond the universe? Is there an outside, or is outside a word that loses its meaning when the cosmos itself defines space? For billions of years, humanity has looked up and wondered, at first through stories, then through science, and now through machines that can see across the birth of time itself. But the deeper we look, the stranger it becomes. The universe, they say, is expanding. Galaxies rush away like the echoes of an ancient explosion, the Big Bang, a moment when everything, everywhere, began from nothing. But if the universe is growing, where is it growing into? What space is there beyond space? Some physicists suggest there's no beyond at all, that space itself stretches like the surface of a balloon. Others believe our universe is but one bubble in a cosmic foam, billions of invisible worlds, each with its own laws of physics, floating in a dark ocean of nothingness. And if that's true, then we are just one note in an infinite cosmic symphony. But what if there is something else, something stranger, beyond even the multiverse? A higher dimension that sees us the way we see a shadow? What if our entire universe is only a reflection, a holographic dream projected from a realm that has no beginning, no end, and no boundary? The edge of reality is not a place we can travel to. It's an idea, a paradox that challenges our deepest understanding of existence. Every discovery we make, every photon we capture, only raises the same haunting question. What came before? What lies beyond? And why does anything exist at all? And in this cosmic mystery, humanity stands, a species of atoms trying to comprehend infinity. We build our theories, launch our telescopes, and measure the faint whispers of creation itself. Yet somewhere in the spaces between those stars, something watches back, silent, endless, unknowable. This is not just the story of the universe. It is the story of us, of how far curiosity can reach when faced with the impossible. Because beyond that final horizon, beyond light, beyond time, beyond reason, lies the greatest question ever asked. Welcome to the Wonder Lab, where the boundaries of reality are only the beginning, and the vast darkness before time began. There was nothing, no stars, no space, no atoms, no sound, and yet, hidden in that nothingness, was everything that would ever exist, compressed into a point smaller than imagination itself. Physicists call it the singularity, a word that sounds simple, but carries the weight of all existence. It wasn't a thing inside space. It was space. It wasn't glowing, spinning, or floating. It had nowhere to be. It was the beginning of where itself. Then, for reasons science still cannot explain, it happened. A silent, incomprehensible release of energy and creation. The Big Bang, not an explosion in space, but an explosion of space. The moment the universe began to expand, stretching the fabric of reality in every direction, faster than light itself. In the first fraction of a second, the universe was pure energy, temperatures beyond comprehension, density so extreme that matter could not even form. Only raw energy, vibrating fields, colliding forces, chaos beyond chaos. And yet, inside that chaos, laws began to emerge, patterns, constants, the mathematical fingerprints of creation, gravity, electromagnetism, the nuclear forces that would one day hold the stars together. They were born here in that first breath of time. For the next 380,000 years, the universe remained a blinding fog, a cosmic storm of plasma and light. Photons could not travel freely. Every particle was tangled with another. It was a universe without form or color, only heat and radiation. But as it cooled, atoms began to form, hydrogen, helium, the first elements of existence, and then light broke free. The fog cleared. The universe became transparent for the first time. That faint afterglow, the cosmic microwave background radiation, still echoes through space today. A whisper from the moment the universe first saw itself. Billions of years passed. Gravity sculpted the chaos into order. Hydrogen clouds collapsed to form the first stars. Stars merged into galaxies. Galaxies danced across the cosmic web, vast threads of matter stretching beyond imagination. And from these stars, elements were born: carbon, oxygen, iron, the building blocks of everything we are. But as humanity gazed up, we asked a question that science still cannot answer. If it all began from a single point, is there an edge where it ends? We imagine the universe like a balloon, expanding outward into emptiness. But scientists say that's not how it works. Space doesn't expand into anything. It expands within itself. There is no outside, because space is not a surface floating in something larger. It is the very structure of reality, curving and stretching like a living organism. To understand this, imagine an ant walking on a balloon. The ant sees two directions, forward and backward, but cannot see the third dimension in which the balloon exists. To the ant, the surface feels endless, without edges. That's how our universe behaves. We are the ants, moving through 3 dimensions, unaware of what lies beyond the curvature of our own cosmic balloon. But even this analogy fails, because the real universe isn't just curved in space. It's curved in space-time. Time itself stretches with the universe. The further galaxies move away, the older the light that reaches us, until some galaxies vanish beyond our observable horizon, their light forever unreachable. That horizon, about 46 billion light-years in every direction, is what we call the observable universe. Beyond it, space continues, but we cannot see it. It is not a wall. It is a limit, a boundary of knowledge, not of existence. And yet that invisible frontier raises a haunting thought. If we can't see beyond it, could there be more universes out there? Other realms with different physical laws, different constants, maybe even different forms of life? Physicists call it the multiverse hypothesis. It's not proven, but it offers an explanation to one of science's oldest puzzles. Why does our universe seem perfectly tuned for life? If there are countless universes, then somewhere, by sheer probability, one had to produce the exact conditions for consciousness to emerge. Maybe we're just living in the lucky one, a universe where stars burn just right, atoms bond just so, and reality itself allows observers like us to ask, why? From a cosmic perspective, our existence might not be destiny, but coincidence. Yet that coincidence gives birth to meaning. Because in the endless sea of possibilities, we are the universe trying to understand itself. We are atoms arranged in such a way that they can look back and question the very laws that built them. Every thought, every theory, every spark of curiosity is the universe reflecting upon its own beginning. And so as scientists peer deeper into the night sky, they're not just searching for galaxies. They're searching for the edge of reality, that mysterious place where our understanding stops, and something greater begins, because if there is an edge, then beyond it lies not nothingness, but the next question. The night sky seems calm, quiet stars scattered across the velvet of space. But in truth, every star, every galaxy, every atom is moving. The universe is not still. It's alive, stretching, growing, changing, every moment. Astronomers first discovered this strange truth a century ago. In 1929, a man named Edwin Hubble pointed his telescope at distant galaxies and saw something that changed everything. The light from those galaxies was redshifted, stretched, as if the galaxies were moving away. The farther a galaxy was, the faster it seemed to recede. It was a revelation. Space itself was expanding, not galaxies drifting through space, but space between galaxies growing larger, carrying them apart, like dots painted on a stretching rubber sheet. At first, this was a shock. People imagined an explosion flinging stars outward into emptiness. But that's not what expansion means. The Big Bang didn't happen at a point in space. It happened everywhere at once. Even now, expansion isn't something happening out there. It's happening here, between every particle, every atom, every heartbeat. If you could see the fabric of space itself, you'd notice it quietly stretching in all directions. It's subtle, imperceptible at human scales, but over billions of years, it transforms the entire cosmos. Galaxies drift farther apart. Light itself stretches into longer wavelengths, fading from brilliant blue to faint red, then to invisible, infrared, until eventually it disappears beyond detection. The deeper we look into the universe, the further back in time we see, because light takes time to travel. Every image of a galaxy is a window into the past. When we gaze at a galaxy 10 billion light years away, we're seeing it as it was 10 billion years ago. Our telescopes are not just instruments, they're time machines. But as we look further, something astonishing happens. The galaxies we see seem to approach a limit, a horizon beyond which no light can reach us. This is the cosmic horizon, the edge of the observable universe. Not a physical wall, but a curtain drawn by time itself. Beyond that curtain, more space exists, more galaxies, more stars. But their light hasn't had time to reach us yet, and it never will, because the expansion of space is accelerating. In the late 1990s, scientists studying distant supernovae made a shocking discovery. The universe isn't slowing down, it's speeding up. Something invisible, immeasurable, but unimaginably powerful is pushing galaxies apart faster and faster. They called it dark energy. Even today, no one knows what dark energy truly is. It makes up nearly 70% of the universe, yet it remains a ghost in the equations, a pressure within the vacuum of space itself, driving expansion toward infinity. Imagine space as a restless ocean. Galaxies are like ships drifting farther apart, not because they move through the sea, but because the sea itself is swelling beneath them. And as the sea rises, the horizon grows ever more distant, until one day the ships vanish from view. This means that even as we observe the cosmos, we are watching galaxies slowly disappear. Each second, millions of stars cross a boundary from which their light will never return. In a distant future, night skies will grow empty. The universe will fade into darkness, not because the stars have died, but because expansion has carried them beyond sight. But expansion also raises a deeper question. If the universe is expanding, what is it expanding into? It's a question that confuses intuition. We imagine explosions in empty space, waves rippling through air. But the universe has no outside. Space doesn't expand into anything. It creates new space as it expands. Just as the surface of a balloon stretches without an edge, our universe grows without a boundary. To grasp this, imagine again that ant on the balloon. As the balloon inflates, the ant sees other ants drifting away, though none of them are moving on their own. The surface itself grows, and though it has no edge, it's finite. If the ant walks long enough, it will return to where it started, never finding an end. Now translate that idea to 3 dimensions. Our universe might be curved in a way we cannot perceive, a vast, self-contained shape that wraps around itself. To us, it feels infinite. But in a higher dimension, it could be a closed structure, without center, without edge, and yet that explanation doesn't fully satisfy the human mind. Because we are creatures of boundaries, we want to know where things start and end. We need the idea of outside to make sense of inside. So physicists keep searching. Some propose the existence of extra dimensions, realms beyond our 3 spatial ones, hidden from perception but real within mathematics. In these theories, our entire universe could be a 3-dimensional membrane floating in a higher dimensional space, what scientists call a brain world. In this vast higher cosmos, other brains might drift, parallel universes separated by distances we can never cross. Perhaps on one of them, another version of you exists, thinking, breathing, wondering about you. Other scientists speak of quantum fluctuations, that even nothingness isn't truly empty. At the smallest scales, particles constantly pop in and out of existence, creating tiny bubbles of space-time. Maybe one of those bubbles inflated and became our universe, while countless others burst and vanished before they ever began. If so, our universe might just be one successful spark in an endless quantum storm. This idea leads to the most haunting question of all. Is there such a thing as everything, or is creation an infinite process without beginning or end? Maybe there was no first universe, no final one, just eternal creation, infinite births and silent deaths across an ocean of realities. And yet, no matter how far theories reach, they always curve back toward us, the observers. Because without consciousness to perceive, measure, and question, what meaning does universe even have? When Hubble saw those redshifts, he didn't just prove expansion, he expanded human thought itself. He turned the sky into a living thing, a story still being written. Each galaxy became a word in the cosmic language of time. We are not spectators. We are participants in this expansion. Our minds stretch just as space does, searching endlessly for the next horizon. And every discovery pushes that horizon further, reminding us that knowledge has no final edge, only a deeper mystery waiting beyond. The universe expands, and so does our curiosity. Perhaps that is the true nature of creation, not the growth of matter, but the growth of awareness. In the vastness of the cosmos, everything moves, galaxies drift, stars orbit, and entire clusters of galaxies glide through space like silent tides. But underneath this motion lies a force we cannot see, cannot touch, cannot hear, and yet it shapes the destiny of all creation. For billions of years, scientists believed gravity was the ruler of the universe. It pulled the stars together, forged galaxies, and held the cosmos in balance. But in the late 20th century, something unexpected emerged from the darkness. Observations of distant supernovae, dying stars exploding with unimaginable brilliance, revealed that galaxies were not slowing down as gravity should have demanded. They were racing away faster and faster, as if some hidden power were pushing them apart. It was a discovery so shocking that even the scientists who found it could hardly believe it. The universe was not winding down. It was accelerating. Something unseen, undetected, and everywhere was tearing the cosmos apart. They named it Dark energy. Dark energy, a term that conceals its ignorance in mystery. We do not know what it is. We only know what it does. It behaves like a pressure within the vacuum of space itself, a kind of anti-gravity that grows stronger as space expands. Imagine a universe filled not with matter, but with potential, a restless tension built into the very structure of existence. That tension, invisible and relentless, is dark energy. To understand it, we must first understand what space truly is. Most of us think of space as empty, a silent void where stars float like isolated islands. But modern physics paints a different picture. Space is not nothing. It is a field, a fabric woven with energy, trembling with quantum fluctuations at every point. Even in the emptiest region of the universe, particles flicker in and out of being, emerging from nothingness and vanishing again in trillionths of a second. In this restless ocean, the vacuum itself is alive. It has weight, it has energy, and dark energy may be the expression of that restless vacuum, a property of space that increases as the universe grows. As the universe expands, new space is created. Each new volume of space carries with it a small but constant amount of vacuum energy. And as the total volume increases, so does the total energy pushing galaxies apart. It is a runaway process. The more the universe expands, the faster it expands. But this discovery leads to a paradox so profound that even Einstein once tried to avoid it. When Einstein first formulated his equations of general relativity, they predicted that the universe should be either expanding or contracting. But in 1917, the common belief was that the universe was eternal and static. To keep his equations from collapsing or exploding, Einstein introduced a new term, the cosmological constant, a mathematical trick that balanced gravity's pull with an opposite push. Years later, when Hubble proved that the universe was indeed expanding, Einstein called that constant his greatest mistake. And yet, it seems the mistake was no mistake at all. The cosmological constant might be the very thing driving expansion, the mathematical face of dark energy itself. But if dark energy truly exists, it forces us to confront another question. What is the ultimate fate of the universe? If gravity ruled alone, the universe might one day slow down, stop expanding, and collapse in a fiery implosion, the Big Crunch. Everything that exists would fall inward, merging once more into a singularity, perhaps to explode again in a new creation. An eternal cycle of birth and death. But dark energy changes everything. If this invisible pressure continues to grow, expansion will never stop. Galaxies will drift farther and farther until their light can no longer reach one another. The night sky, once filled with billions of stars, will fade into darkness. The Milky Way will become a lonely island of starlight in an ever-expanding sea. Trillions of years from now, even the stars will burn out. The universe will fall into silence, not by fire, but by isolation. Astronomers call it the heat death, or the Big Freeze, a future where energy spreads so thin that nothing new can form, nothing can live, and time itself loses meaning. But there are even darker possibilities. Some theories suggest that dark energy may not remain constant. It could grow stronger, accelerating expansion until even galaxies, stars, and atoms themselves are torn apart. This apocalyptic vision is called the Big Rip, a future where the universe's expansion becomes infinite in a finite amount of time. In this vision, space itself shreds apart. Galaxies drift away, then stars within galaxies, then planets, then molecules, until the very fabric of matter unravels. Atoms stretch and disintegrate, protons dissolve, and even the quantum fields that define space collapse into nothing. The universe ends, not in a blaze, but in an infinite scream of separation. Yet in the face of this cosmic annihilation, science whispers something even more haunting. If the universe can emerge from nothing once, could it not do so again? If expansion leads to emptiness, might emptiness itself give birth to expansion? Perhaps in the final stillness, a quantum fluctuation will ignite another universe, a new Big Bang in the ashes of the old. This idea suggests that creation is not a singular miracle, but an endless rhythm, universes blooming and fading, one after another like waves upon an infinite shore, each with its own laws, its own physics, its own definition of reality. Our universe may simply be one stanza in an eternal cosmic poem, but still, dark energy remains the great mystery, the unknown engine that drives all motion, the silent hand sculpting the destiny of time. We know it fills the cosmos, we know it governs the future, but we cannot see it, touch it, or measure it directly. It hides between the stars, within the emptiness itself, a force that is both everywhere and nowhere. And yet, the strangest truth may be this: dark energy might not be a force at all. It could be an illusion born from our misunderstanding of space and time. Some scientists now suggest that what we call expansion may instead be a feature of how we perceive time's flow, that the geometry of the universe might not be changing, but our perception of it is. In this view, dark energy is not an external agent pushing galaxies apart, but the natural evolution of space-time itself, a reflection of deeper laws we have yet to uncover. Whatever it is, dark energy stands as the ultimate riddle of modern cosmology, the line where knowledge meets the unknown. Every discovery about it leads to deeper paradoxes, and every paradox reveals a larger mystery. Perhaps the greatest illusion of all is the idea that the universe is something outside of us, distant, cold, mechanical. Because if the same laws that govern galaxies also govern our atoms, then we are part of the same unfolding equation. The dark energy that shapes galaxies also hums within the vacuum between our own cells. The same expansion that carries away distant stars also stretches the space between our thoughts, and in that realization, something profound emerges. That the universe is not merely expanding outward, it is expanding inward into awareness itself. As the cosmos grows, so does the human mind's capacity to grasp it. Perhaps consciousness and the universe are two reflections of the same mystery, one vast and external, the other intimate and internal, both driven by the same invisible engine. The fate of the cosmos may be written in equations, but its meaning lies in curiosity, the quiet human hunger to know, to see, to understand. And as long as that hunger burns, the universe will never truly end, because somewhere, in some distant future, another mind, another consciousness will rise, look to the stars, and ask the same question we ask now: what lies beyond? In the silence between stars, reality unfolds like a tapestry, invisible yet absolute. Every planet that spins, every beam of light that crosses the cosmos, every moment you live, all of it takes place within a vast, flexible framework, and something so fundamental that it defines existence itself. This is space-time. For centuries, space and time were thought to be separate. Space was the stage upon which matter moved, and time was the clock that ticked in the background. But the 20th century shattered that illusion. With Einstein's theory of relativity, the universe revealed a deeper truth. Space and time are not separate entities, but two threads of the same cosmic fabric, interwoven and inseparable. Imagine the universe as a grand four-dimensional ocean. The waves on its surface are not made of water, but of geometry, bending, stretching, curving in response to mass and energy. Every planet, every star, Every galaxy presses into this invisible sea, distorting it like a heavy weight on a vast elastic sheet. That curvature is what we experience as gravity. Gravity is not a force that pulls. It is the geometry of space itself, guiding everything through the path of least resistance. The Earth does not orbit the Sun because it is pulled. It follows the curves of space-time carved by the Sun's immense mass. But here's the strange part. This cosmic fabric is not static. It ripples. It vibrates. It moves. When massive objects accelerate, like colliding black holes or exploding stars, they send tremors through the structure of reality itself. These are gravitational waves, faint whispers from cosmic cataclysms that travel across billions of light years. In 2015, humanity heard these whispers for the first time, as the detectors at LIGO captured a signal that had been traveling since long before life began. It was not sound in the usual sense. It was the echo of the universe itself trembling. This was not merely an experiment. It was a revelation. It meant that space-time was real, not a concept, but a physical entity capable of motion, vibration, and energy transfer. Reality itself could be disturbed, but space-time is not uniform. It is not smooth. On the largest scales, it stretches and curves with elegance. But if we could zoom down, past atoms, past protons, past the smallest particles we can measure, we would find that space-time is not flat at all. It seethes with uncertainty. At the quantum level, the smooth surface of space-time begins to dissolve into something chaotic and unpredictable, a storm of virtual particles, energy fluctuations, and probabilistic foam. Scientists call this realm the Planck scale, the smallest possible division of space and time, a limit where our known laws of physics break apart. Here, the calm ocean of space-time turns into a frothing sea, where up and down, before and after, inside and outside lose all meaning. Space becomes fragmented, time flickers, and causality, the very logic that makes reality coherent, begins to collapse. This is the deepest paradox in modern physics. The smooth, continuous geometry of Einstein's universe cannot coexist with the quantum chaos of the microscopic world. Somewhere between these two visions lies a truth we have yet to see, a grand theory that unites the cosmic and the quantum. Some believe this truth may lie in string theory, according to this radical idea. The fundamental building blocks of the universe are not particles at all, but tiny, vibrating strings, loops of energy that dance within multiple hidden dimensions. These strings can stretch, twist, and resonate, and their different vibrations give birth to everything we observe. Matter, energy, gravity, even light. In this vision, space-time itself emerges from the symphony of these strings, as if reality were a song written in an invisible language of vibration. The geometry of the universe is not a stage, it is the music itself. But there's another possibility, one that bends the imagination even further. Some physicists propose that space-time might not be fundamental at all, that it could be an illusion, an emergent property born from something deeper, something non-spatial, non-temporal, and entirely abstract. In this idea, space-time is like temperature. Temperature doesn't exist in a single molecule. It only emerges when billions of molecules interact. Likewise, space and time might arise from the collective behavior of countless quantum bits of information. This leads to a breathtaking possibility. The universe may be nothing more than information, a vast computation unfolding through cosmic logic, where energy, matter, and geometry are secondary manifestations of a deeper code. In this digital vision of the cosmos, space-time is the interface, the way consciousness perceives the underlying data. We are, perhaps, living inside a self-evolving algorithm, an endless computation where existence itself is the output. And yet, even within this abstraction, beauty remains. The mathematics that describe the curvature of space-time are the same that govern the paths of light, the orbits of planets, and the collapse of stars. The same equations that predicted black holes also predicted the expansion of the universe. And within these equations lies an elegant symmetry, a whisper that the cosmos is not random but exquisitely ordered, but symmetry, like perfection, never lasts. In the beginning, when the universe was newborn, everything was smooth, uniform, and balanced. Then something shattered that perfection. Tiny fluctuations, quantum ripples in space-time, became the seeds of galaxies. The imperfections of the early universe gave rise to beauty, the imbalance that allowed stars to ignite, planets to form, and life to emerge. The very wrinkles in the fabric of space-time became the brushstrokes of creation. And now, billions of years later, we stand within that same fabric, trying to understand it, living beings made from the same geometry that binds the stars. Every heartbeat, every thought, every dream unfolds within space-time, and yet we rarely feel its motion. We think of time as something that flows, but in truth, it may be we who are moving, sliding through the fourth dimension, frame by frame, moment by moment, unaware of the cosmic stage we traverse. To the physicist, space-time is geometry. To the philosopher, it is the essence of being. And to the dreamer, it is the veil between what is and what could be. Perhaps one day, when we finally grasp the true nature of space-time, we will discover that reality itself is not fixed, that new worlds, new timelines, new dimensions could be woven from its threads. Perhaps buried deep within the mathematics lies the secret to bending space, to shaping time, to walking among the stars as easily as we walk through air. But until then, space-time remains our silent companion, unseen, but ever present, bending under every motion, humming beneath every atom. It is the invisible architecture that holds us, defines us, and reminds us that everything, from galaxies to thoughts, is connected by the same endless weave. We are not in space-time. We are space-time, temporarily conscious, eternally curious, and forever part of the hidden architecture of reality. Time. It's the one thing we can never escape, the river in which every life drifts, the silent current that carries us from birth to death, from beginning to end. We live inside it, measure it, fear it, and yet we do not truly understand what it is. For most of human history, time seemed simple. The sun rises, the sun sets. Moments pass in sequence, yesterday, today, tomorrow, a perfect, unbreakable line. But physics has revealed a far stranger truth, that this flow we call time may be nothing more than an illusion, a trick played by the universe upon the mind that observes it. To see this illusion clearly, we must first return to the heart of relativity. Einstein's universe does not have a single universal now. Instead, time bends and stretches depending on how fast you move and how strong gravity is where you stand. Two observers can watch the same event and disagree on when it happened, and both will be right. The faster you move, the slower your clock ticks. The stronger the gravity, the slower time flows. On Earth, these effects are tiny, but near a black hole, they become cosmic. Imagine standing at the edge of one, a place where gravity is so strong that even light cannot escape. To you, a few seconds might pass, but to someone watching from far away, your seconds could last centuries. At the event horizon, time itself nearly stops. What is a single heartbeat to you becomes eternity to someone else. This is not science fiction. This is the real geometry of space-time, and it leads to a breathtaking conclusion. There is no single universal present. The universe does not march to one shared rhythm. Every point in space has its own clock ticking to its own beat. The past and future are not fixed boundaries. They shift and stretch like shadows cast upon a curved wall. But relativity goes even further. If we imagine the universe as a four-dimensional block, with 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time, then everything that has ever happened or will ever happen already exists within it. This is called the block universe. In this model, the past, present, and future are not separate states of being. They are equally real, equally permanent. We do not move through time. We experience different slices of it. Picture a film reel. Every frame already exists, from the first to the last. You, the observer, simply move your consciousness from one frame to another. What you call now is just one frame illuminated by awareness. This means your childhood, your future old age, every laugh, every heartbreak, all exist together, laid out in space-time like a sculpture, eternal and unchanging. We only perceive time because our minds experience the frames one by one, creating the illusion of motion, the illusion of flow. If this is true, then change, decay, even death are not destruction. They are perspective. Nothing truly vanishes. Every event that ever was still exists, frozen within the geometry of the universe. But if all moments coexist, why do we only see one at a time? Here physics gives way to consciousness. The brain, like a film projector, stitches the frames together. We are built to experience causality, one thing leading to another, because that's how evolution shaped perception. To survive, we must understand sequences, cause, effect, before, after. Our biology makes time flow, even if the universe itself does not. The illusion is beautiful. It gives us meaning. We feel anticipation because we believe the future hasn't happened yet. We feel regret because we think the past is gone. Yet, in the block universe, both coexist, waiting timelessly for our awareness to reach them. And there is evidence everywhere. Astronomers, when they look into the night sky, do not see the universe as it is. They see it as it was. Every star is a time machine, its light carrying messages from millions or billions of years ago. When we gaze at the heavens, we are literally seeing the past. But what if the same is true of our own lives? What if, from a higher dimensional perspective, we too are constellations, our entire lifetimes laid out in space-time, every joy and sorrow connected like stars in an invisible pattern? Some physicists believe that if we could step outside of time, if we could somehow see the four-dimensional universe from above, we would witness everything at once. Every moment of human history, every birth and every death, every supernova and every silence, all existing together like pages in a single infinite book. In this vision, time is not a river, but a landscape. We are travelers moving through it, mistaking our journey for its creation. But there's a darker side to this idea. If the future already exists, what becomes of free will? Do we truly choose our path, or are we following a script already written in the geometry of space-time? Quantum mechanics may hold the key. At the microscopic scale, particles do not have definite positions or futures. They exist in probabilities, waves of potential that collapse only when observed. This means the universe is not a fixed sculpture, after all, but a dynamic tapestry, a superposition of possibilities that crystallize into reality when consciousness interacts with it. Perhaps time is the way reality measures its own unfolding. Perhaps the flow of time is not an illusion, but a dialogue between matter and awareness, the conversation that turns possibility into experience. In that sense, the past, present, and future do exist together, but consciousness moves through them like a beam of light scanning an image. illuminating one moment after another. When the beam moves, we call it time. When the image changes, we call it life. This brings us to a stunning thought. If consciousness defines time's flow, then death might not end it. It may simply shift the frame. If awareness can detach from the physical, it might perceive existence in a way freed from linear time, where all moments are simultaneous, where eternity is not endless duration, but total presence. Perhaps this is what ancient mystics glimpsed in their meditations. What poets felt when they spoke of timelessness. What near-death experiences describe when they say, everything happened at once. Maybe science and spirituality are staring at the same truth. From opposite sides of the same space-time wall, time feels real because we are trapped inside it. But if we could ever rise above it, even for a moment, we would see the truth that Einstein hinted at, that physics now echoes, that philosophy has always whispered. The distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Everything that was, is, and will be already is, and yet, within that illusion lies our story, the heartbeat of the universe written across the endless fabric of being. We are the witnesses of time's dream, the conscious eyes through which eternity sees itself move. Perhaps that's why the illusion exists at all, not to deceive us, but to let the infinite experience itself, one fleeting second at a time. In the quiet before thought, in the stillness behind every perception, a question waits, the oldest, most unsettling question of all. What is consciousness? We can map the stars, we can weigh galaxies, we can predict the birth of a black hole, but we cannot explain how the universe became aware of itself, how lifeless matter began to think, to feel, to dream. For centuries, science treated consciousness as a byproduct, a flicker inside the skull, born from chemical storms between neurons. But as physics pushed deeper into the quantum world, cracks began to appear in that simple story. Reality, it seemed, was not as objective as we once believed. At the smallest scales of existence, matter does not behave like matter. Electrons exist in multiple places at once. Photons pass through two slits simultaneously. Observation, the mere act of watching, decides which path reality will take. In the quantum realm, the observer and the observed are entwined. This is the measurement problem, a mystery that shakes the foundation of science. When no one looks, particles are clouds of probability, waves of possibility spread across space. But when they are measured, they collapse into a definite state. What collapses them? What transforms potential into reality? Some physicists say it's interaction, a physical contact between systems. Others whisper something more radical, that conscious observation itself may be the key. Could it be that awareness doesn't arise from the universe, but that the universe arises through awareness? If so, then consciousness is not an accident. It is fundamental, woven into the equations that govern existence, as basic as energy or gravity. To understand how radical this is, imagine a cosmos where every atom carries a spark of awareness, not thinking in a human sense, but a primitive sensitivity, the ability to register and respond. This is called panpsychism, the idea that consciousness pervades all things. In this view, the mind is not confined to the brain. It is a universal field, and the brain is simply an instrument that tunes into it, like a radio receiving invisible waves. Neuroscience offers hints that this may not be mere poetry. When scientists measure brain activity during moments of deep insight, meditation, or near death, they find patterns that defy expectation, bursts of order in chaos, coherence emerging from noise, as though the brain aligns with something larger than itself. And yet, No one can find consciousness inside the brain. We can locate electrical signals, map neural pathways, even predict emotions, but the experience of being, the inner light of awareness, remains beyond measurement. This is the hard problem of consciousness, the question of how matter becomes mind. Every attempt to explain it in physical terms collapses into paradox. How can the subjective arise from the objective? How can a collection of atoms generate the feeling of love, the taste of rain, the memory of childhood? Perhaps we've been looking from the wrong direction. Maybe consciousness did not emerge from matter. Maybe matter is what consciousness looks like when seen from the outside. Quantum physics seems to echo this possibility. Every particle, every field exists in a haze of probabilities until interaction gives it form. It is as if reality is participatory, requiring observation to exist at all. The universe, then, might be a mirror hall of awareness, observing itself through countless eyes. Each conscious being, human, animal, perhaps even cell, is a lens through which the cosmos learns to see. And what does it see? Patterns, beauty, meaning. From the spinning of electrons to the spiraling of galaxies, the same mathematical rhythms repeat across all scales. It is as if the universe composes itself in harmony, and consciousness is the song it hums to know it exists. But what happens when we dream? When we close our eyes and create entire worlds within our minds, filled with light, motion, and emotion, yet built from nothing? In that moment, the dreamer becomes a miniature universe, generating space, time, and experience out of pure awareness. Could the physical universe itself be a dream of a higher consciousness? Not metaphorically, but literally? If the quantum vacuum is a field of infinite potential, then consciousness could be the act of observation that crystallizes one version of that potential into the world we inhabit. We do not live in the universe. We live as the universe, momentarily awake to itself. Modern physics is beginning to explore this connection. Quantum information theory suggests that information, not matter, is the true foundation of reality. And information, by its nature, requires a knower, a perceiver to give it meaning. Some researchers now speculate that the universe behaves like a vast quantum computer, processing itself into existence, and consciousness is both the input and the output, the system aware of its own computation. If that is true, then awareness didn't appear late in cosmic history. It has been present from the first instant of the Big Bang, encoded into the fabric of space-time itself. Consider this: in the first trillionth of a second, quantum fluctuations sculpted the seeds of galaxies. Those same fluctuations, patterns of uncertainty, also define the structure of thought within your brain. Across the scale of 1060 in size and 1030 in time, the same equations apply. The brain is not separate from the cosmos. It is one of its ways of reflecting on itself. When you look up at the night sky, you are not a small creature gazing into the infinite. You are the infinite, momentarily gazing back. Perhaps this is why consciousness remains mysterious, because it cannot see itself directly. Just as an eye cannot look at its own surface, awareness can only know itself through what it creates: matter, energy, life. And if awareness and the cosmos are two sides of the same coin, then the end of one may not be the end of the other. When the stars fade and the universe cools, consciousness may simply shift, changing form, dreaming anew, spreading across other dimensions we cannot yet imagine. In that possibility lies something profoundly hopeful: that death is not disappearance, but transformation; that the mind is not a spark in darkness, but the darkness learning to glow; that the universe itself is not indifferent, but alive, evolving, perceiving, becoming. Perhaps every atom, every thought, Every heartbeat is the universe whispering one truth to itself. Over and over, I am. And when the final star burns out and the last photon drifts into silence, that whisper will not end because it never began. It was always there, echoing within the quantum stillness from which all things arise. Maybe that is the ultimate secret of the cosmos, that consciousness is not the product of creation. It is creation. And the universe, in its infinite majesty, is simply the mind of existence dreaming itself into being. In the vast stillness of intergalactic space, where galaxies appear as lonely islands floating on an endless sea, there exists a boundary that is not drawn by matter, but by imagination. For every photon that has ever traveled, for every atom that has ever existed, there comes a distance beyond which no signal can ever reach us. Astronomers call it the cosmic horizon, a wall not made of stone or flame, but of time itself. Beyond that veil lies everything we cannot see, and perhaps everything that ever could be. As the universe expands, this horizon grows, pushing galaxies away faster than light can bridge the gap. Every second, more of the cosmos slips beyond our reach, lost forever into the dark. The light we see from those distant worlds began its journey billions of years ago, when the universe was still young. To look at them now is to gaze into the past, but never the present. And so, we live trapped inside a shrinking bubble of visibility, watching the universe we were born in quietly fade into silence. But what truly exists beyond that line? If we could step outside the observable universe, what would we find? Would the laws of physics remain the same? Or would we enter a place where logic itself collapses? Some theories suggest that beyond our horizon, infinite other universes might unfold like pages in a book, each one governed by a different set of constants, different laws, even different forms of life and thought. To cross that boundary would be to leave everything we know behind, not just matter and light, but meaning itself. Yet others argue that the beyond doesn't exist in the physical sense, that it's not a place at all, but a limit of perception. Like a fish trapped inside a pond, we can never imagine the ocean outside unless the boundaries of our pond dissolve. The edge of reality, then, may not lie in the stars, but within the mind that seeks to understand them. Every equation we write, every telescope we build, every idea we dream, all of it is an attempt to push that horizon outward, to make the infinite a little less unknown. In the cold silence of space, dark energy continues to stretch the universe apart. Galaxies move faster. The void between them grows wider, and one day the stars themselves will be alone, unreachable, unseen, forgotten. But perhaps this isn't an end. Perhaps it's a transformation. For as the cosmos expands, consciousness may evolve, too, reaching new states of awareness that no human can yet imagine. Some physicists dare to suggest that the universe itself might be cyclic, that beyond the fading light of our cosmos lies the seed of another, waiting to be born from the ashes of the last. Just as a wave rises, breaks, and is reborn upon the shore, perhaps the universe breathes in endless cycles of creation and collapse. If that's true, then there is no beyond, only the eternal rhythm of existence repeating itself across infinity. And yet, even if we never cross that edge, even if we remain forever within our small window of space and time, we have already done something extraordinary. We have imagined the beyond. In the quiet chambers of the human mind, we have created galaxies of thought and oceans of wonder that no telescope can ever see. Perhaps that is what makes our species unique, not that we can measure the universe, but that we can dream of what lies beyond it. So the question remains, when we speak of the edge of reality, Are we describing the border of the cosmos, or the frontier of the human mind? The answer may not be out there in the cold expanse of space, but within us, where curiosity burns brighter than a billion suns, and imagination dares to reach beyond the stars. What if the edge of reality isn't a place in space, but a limit of comprehension? Imagine a point where the human mind, no matter how evolved, no matter how curious, simply cannot go further, not because the truth is hidden, but because it cannot fit inside our understanding. The universe may not be a thing to be seen, but a thing to be experienced through layers of truth. And at the outermost layer, where everything begins to blur, lies the paradox. The universe exists because it can be imagined, and it is imagined because it exists. Scientists once believed that if we could find the ultimate law of physics, the theory of everything, it would explain every atom, every galaxy, every heartbeat. But now, the deeper we look, the stranger it becomes. Reality does not get simpler at its foundation. It becomes more complex, more abstract. The closer we get to truth, the more it dissolves into mystery. Quantum physics shattered our sense of logic. It told us that particles do not exist in one place or another, but in many states at once, waves of probability that only decide where to be when we look. The act of observation itself creates the outcome. So, is the universe real before we observe it, or do we bring it into being simply by existing? The edge of reality, then, might not be somewhere far away. It might be in every moment we open our eyes. At the farthest limits of the cosmos, space-time stretches so thin that it begins to tear. Black holes, those devourers of light, twist reality until time itself stands still. Inside them, the known laws of physics break down, and yet, perhaps within that collapse, lies the code for something new. Some scientists now believe that black holes might not be ends at all, but beginnings, gateways through which new universes emerge, each born from the death of another. If that is true, then our universe is not the only one, just one among countless others, endlessly branching like the roots of a cosmic tree, every possibility realized somewhere, every choice echoed across infinity. The beyond we search for may not be outside, but next to us, separated by dimensions we cannot perceive. To a two-dimensional being, a third dimension is unthinkable, and to us, perhaps, so is the fourth or fifth. But what if consciousness itself is the key to crossing that boundary? What if awareness, the ability to question, to imagine, to wonder, is the force that allows the universe to know itself? Every thought, every act of curiosity could be a ripple in the cosmic field, pushing the edge of reality outward. We may not yet have the technology to travel beyond galaxies, but through imagination, we already have. Think of it. The universe observing itself through our eyes, thinking through our minds, feeling through our hearts. We are not separate from it, we are it. The hydrogen in our veins was born in ancient stars, the carbon in our breath forged in supernovae. When we look into the night sky, we are looking back at ourselves. The boundary between out there and in here disappears, and what remains is unity, disguised as distance, and so, perhaps the edge we seek will never be found through telescopes or equations. It may be something to awaken within, a realization that existence is not a place to reach, but a state to understand. The edge of reality is not the end of the universe, it's the beginning of awareness. If the cosmos has a purpose, it may be this: to evolve beings capable of asking, what lies beyond? And through that question, to make beyond exist. At the edge of everything we know, the universe whispers a truth too vast for language, that we may never truly find the border of existence, because the border keeps moving with us. Every time we uncover one layer of mystery, another emerges beneath it, deeper and stranger than before. Like explorers lost at sea, we sail endlessly toward a horizon that always recedes. Yet that endless pursuit, that hunger to understand, is what defines us. Billions of years from now, the cosmos will not look the same. Galaxies will drift apart until even the nearest star becomes invisible to any observer that might remain. The universe will grow darker, colder, lonelier. Stars will die, black holes will evaporate, and matter itself may decay into nothing but faint radiation. Physicists call it the heat death of the universe, a moment when energy becomes evenly spread, and nothing more can happen. A universe without contrast, without change, without time. But what does nothing really mean? Can there truly be emptiness? Even in the darkest corners of the void, the vacuum hums with quantum activity, particles blinking in and out of existence. The universe, it seems, refuses to be silent. From that restlessness, perhaps a new cosmos could one day be born, rising out of the ashes of the old. The universe may die, but reality may not. Reality could be eternal, transforming itself again and again in an infinite cycle of becoming. And so, the edge of reality might not be a wall at all, but a threshold, the moment between one creation and the next. To cross it may not mean traveling through space, but evolving through understanding. Just as a caterpillar cannot imagine flight until it becomes a butterfly, maybe we cannot yet imagine what consciousness could be in a universe far older, far wiser than our own. Our ancestors once looked at the stars and believed the heavens ended just beyond their sight. Then came the telescope and the universe expanded. Now we look with satellites and quantum equations, and still the unknown stretches beyond. Each time we grow, the horizon moves, as if the universe is alive, responding to our curiosity, revealing itself piece by piece to those who dare to ask. Maybe that's the secret of the edge. It doesn't exist to confine us, but to inspire us. The universe wants to be discovered. Every galaxy, every particle, every law of physics, all of it seems designed to challenge the limits of the mind, to force us to become more than we are. The cosmos is not a machine built for observation. It is a story told through awareness, unfolding only when consciousness participates. If so, then the final horizon will not be reached through technology, but through awakening. The day humanity understands that we are not observers in a distant universe, but creators within it, that will be the moment we finally touch the edge of reality. Not with rockets or probes, but with realization. Somewhere, in the darkness between galaxies, photons from the dawn of time are still traveling, carrying the memory of creation itself. They may never reach another eye to witness them, but that doesn't make their journey meaningless. It reminds us that even in silence, the universe keeps speaking. Its message is not about endings, but beginnings. Not about limits, but possibilities. And so the quest continues. The more we learn, the more we realize how little we know. But that's not defeat. It's destiny. Because in the end, the search for what lies beyond the universe is not a journey through space. It's the story of reality discovering itself through us. Somewhere in the silence of eternity, the universe pauses. Not in space, not in time, but in meaning. For billions of years it has expanded, cooled, and evolved, scattering stars and galaxies like seeds across an endless field. And yet, after all that motion, all that chaos, there comes a question whispered into the void. Why does anything exist at all? It is perhaps the oldest question in existence, and maybe the only one that truly matters. Science can describe how the universe works, how energy became matter, how matter became life, and how life began to think. But it cannot yet tell us why there is something rather than nothing. Somewhere, buried beneath equations and quantum foam, that question lingers, a doorway to something deeper than physics, something that touches the very fabric of being. The story of reality may not be about the universe itself, but about its awareness. For what good is an endless cosmos if there is no one to see it, no mind to wonder at its beauty, no consciousness to ask what it all means? Perhaps in creating beings capable of curiosity, the universe achieved something extraordinary. It became self-aware. Through us, through every question we ask, it looks back at itself and begins to understand. Think of it. Every human thought, every act of wonder, every dream is the cosmos reflecting upon its own mystery. When you gaze at the night sky, you are not a separate observer. You are the universe, seeing itself for the first time through your own eyes. You are made of the same atoms that shine in distant suns, born from the same explosions that created the stars. There is no division between the dreamer and the dream. At the ultimate edge of reality, everything we know, matter, energy, space, and time, dissolves into one singular truth. Existence and awareness are not two things. They are one, the observer and the observed. The question and the answer, the beginning and the end, all merge into a single boundless presence. That presence is not outside of us. It is us. If the universe could speak, perhaps it would not do so through thunder or starlight, but through the gentle voice of thought itself, through the wonder that awakens when we look up and realize that we are part of something infinite. Every scientific discovery, every cosmic breakthrough, every mystery solved, is the universe learning to read its own story. And that story never ends, because as soon as one mystery fades, another is born from its shadow. There may come a time when the last star burns out, when the cosmos falls silent and the universe becomes a sea of cold and darkness. But even then, the spark that once wondered what lies beyond will remain, carried in the memory of everything that ever lived, everything that ever dreamed. The edge of reality, it seems, is not a boundary to reach, but a moment to understand. The moment when awareness recognizes itself as infinite. Maybe that's what the universe has been trying to tell us all along, that beyond all equations, beyond all galaxies, beyond all beginnings and endings, lies a single truth that unites it all. We are the edge of reality. The universe began not with silence, but with a note so deep, so vast, that it became the song of existence itself. Every atom, every photon, every heartbeat since has been a part of that melody. An unending rhythm echoing through time. From the birth of stars to the rise of consciousness, from the first question to the final dream, the universe has never stopped asking what it means to be. And in that question, we find ourselves. We are the listeners of the cosmic symphony, the witnesses of light that traveled billions of years just to reach our eyes. We stand on a small blue world, fragile and temporary, yet capable of imagining infinity. Every discovery we make, every image captured by our telescopes, every equation written on a chalkboard, every whisper of wonder in the human mind brings us one step closer to understanding what we truly are, the universe, awakened, but the story doesn't end here. Because knowledge, like the cosmos, has no final horizon. The deeper we explore, the more we realize that curiosity is the engine of reality itself, the pulse that keeps creation alive. The moment we stop asking questions, the universe falls silent. But as long as we wonder, it continues to dream. Perhaps that's what it all means. Not to conquer the unknown, but to become one with it. To look beyond the galaxies and see that every mystery, every distance, every unanswered question is a reflection of the same infinite potential within us. The edge of reality is not somewhere far away. It is wherever curiosity begins. It is the moment a child looks up at the night sky and whispers, "What's out there?" It is the instant you feel small, yet infinite. It is the connection between the seen and the unseen, between the known and the eternal. And so the story continues. Not in the stars, but in us. Because we are not just part of the universe, we are its way of remembering, of questioning, of creating. Through every act of imagination, we expand its borders. Through every spark of curiosity, we push the horizon just a little further. So, if this journey moved your curiosity, if it made you pause, wonder, or dream, then let that curiosity live on. Keep exploring. Keep questioning. Keep reaching beyond the edge. You've been watching the Wonder Lab, where we explore the mysteries that shape our world and the secrets that time refuses to bury. If this journey inspired your mind or awakened your sense of wonder, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because here at the Wonder Lab, the quest for knowledge never ends. Chatsia. It only begins again.